Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Yep, today we're going to be baking it up. We got a couple of good things that are going on there. Some pizzas. We've got some special sausage, Rotel, cream cheese, biscuits that were just awesome. That recipe came off the Meat Church thing. It was awesome. So let's get into this. First up, let's do those biscuits. Now again, what's not to love in this thing? It's got a number of things in it. Now I'm preheating up to 400 because that's what the recipe calls for. And first thing going in is the Red Lobster biscuit mix. Mixing that up and actually putting a little bit of water in it with this one, although you don't have to as far as the Meat Church recipe goes, but I did. And then from there you add a block of cream cheese, and that actually puts some nice smooth flavor into this as well. And then after that you throw in basically a roll of sausage. Now I'm a fan of the Jimmy Dean sausage, so that's what I've got going in here, the Jimmy Dean sage to be precise. And then once you get that in, the can of drained Rotel, in my case the Hatch Rotel. And then following that, I got a couple of packages of that Tillamook mix of cheddar cheeses and stuff in there. So this all came together pretty well. Now of course you got to scoop that off the sides and get that mixed up thoroughly. And in my case, I'm letting the KitchenAid do the work. From here, I use a little bit of I use one of those small ice cream scoopers to start getting these things in even sizes. Putting that out on the nonstick aluminum foil, and then once I get this all in place, I start to sprinkle that with some of the Holy Cow stuff that the Meat Church guys have, the seasoning that they have. That just gives it a little extra flavor. And in this instance, I didn't let it sit the prescribed 15 minutes. I let it rest for about 5 because honestly, I was kind of ready to get this in there and eat it because it was looking like it was going to be pretty good. So anyhow, on 400, flipped it around once during the baking process, and then after that got ready to pull it. Now I got this to a good point where the tops were getting brown, but what I really like is how the bottoms crisp up on this. If you're a fan of that little piece of cheese that spills over the side of the lasagna dish and then gets a little crusty on the side, well, that's what this is. Okay, these sausage biscuit balls, cheddar from Meat Church that they recommended, that's damn tasty. The Rotel makes it. Oh, the sausage makes it. And the cheese. And that Red Lobster biscuit stuff too. And that, friends, was my honest impression. Now on to making some pizza. Okay. Now, yeah, a lot of people make the dough from scratch and whatnot. I'm just not there yet. I mean, I've done, the powdered dough from packages and such. But for an evening, family's hungry and I just need to move quick. One of the things I tend to lean on is these pre-made dough packages from Randall's that they've got. And I have to confess, usually this comes out of the bag a little quicker for me. But for some reason this night, it was a little bit tricky. Anyhow, I eventually got that thing out, got it down into the flour, and once you get in the flour, it's a lot easier to work it and make things do what you want it to do. One power tip on this, thanks to one of my daughters who suggested this, is the semolina flour to put down on the pan prior to laying your rolled dough out on it. That semolina flour helps keep things from sticking, and that's what that little brown bag is there to the left with the back to us. That really is the power tip of the day in terms of making things work. Now that said, got myself some new pizza pans. Again, sprinkled down with the semolina flour and some olive oil up front first. It was just time to top it. Now everybody had four of these done. Everybody decided to top it themselves. Now, what I just showed you there was a mistake. I put this on at full, so this was at 700, so I was doing a fast and hot cook. But the reality of it was I shouldn't have done that. This was a little bit too hot to go for. So we got a collection of different pizzas going on here. We had black olives on top of pepperoni with pineapple. We had basically 2 pesto versions with brie and a couple of other things. Anyhow, everybody built their own, and so that's how it went in. Now I rotated these a couple of times through the cook and got it all going. And as you can see, I had a little warpage on one of those pans, but they survived the 700 cook. But by and large, I gotta tell you, this came out excellent. Crispy on the outside, tender dough on the inside. All the flavors were good. And this was just with store-bought, simple stuff. I mean, this wasn't any fancy, hey, I did it myself, sauces or anything. I mean, it just worked. Definitely a crowd pleaser. Okay, next up on the baking. Hey, I'm a Southern guy, so cornbread. This wasn't Jiffy, but I've been staring at this package in the pantry for a good long while. I decided it was just time to make it up. So following the directions there, basically started to put everything together. I wanted some fresh jalapenos on top of this to give it a little bit of bite because there was some jalapeno flavor in there. A couple of eggs going into place, the milk, everything that the instructions told me to do. Basically started with a little bit of melted butter in the cast iron skillet, and then from there, did the mixing up and spread that around into that skillet. And then at a certain point, it was time to take that out to the smoker. And in this case, I think again we were set on 400 for this one, and that was pretty straightforward to do. It was really just following the instructions and getting this into place. Now that said, I will admit, I wished I'd put a little bit of extra cheese in this, or put some cheese in this. My wife likes to put a can of cream corn in, and that doesn't, turn out bad. It actually turns out pretty good most of the time. At least that's when we're doing our Jiffy version of this. So anyhow, rotated that way, halfway through the cook, and yeah, we got that up to a little over 205, in terms of the internal temperature, and that was actually ready to, come out after one more turn, and we were good to go. So plated that up that night with some ribeyes, and actually came out pretty tasty. It was a good thing to go with it. Okay, here's your money shot. I'm actually eating it. It tasted pretty good. Had a lot of butter on there for sure. Okay, next up, I know this is a basic thing to do, but baked potatoes on the smoker were really good. Now, where I failed you guys is I did not get a good picture of the money shot on this. We baked these up, and then I topped them with some brisket we had from the party cook and some pulled pork from that party cook, and it came out really good. So here, puncturing the baked potatoes, let some of the steam out. I tend to like to rub these in olive oil and basically use that as a binder for some kosher salt to go on top of that, or some of that Himalayan or sea salt to go on top. So anyhow, got that in place. Preheated again the smoker up to 400 degrees, and that's what I had these set at. Now also, one of the things when I'm doing this, I go ahead and have a probe in place on one of the potatoes, because I like to get these above 203 to 210, because I like them to be very creamy on the inside. And this is a way I've found to ensure that I'm getting it the right consistency on the inside, so I'm not giving it a squeeze and crush test. Those came out awesome. Next, went ahead and had some corn, threw that on there. Again, this one was at 450, but peeled back everything, and then rehusked it. In other words, took the hairs out and whatnot. No pictures of us eating this, but this wrapped with this with some butter on there and a little bit of salt, came out really good. Kids loved it. It was definitely a crowd pleaser that night, and it was pretty straightforward and simple to do. I mean, there was really no headache, muss or fuss with that at all, other than shucking it a little bit. Now here was the crowd pleaser, the birthday cake. Pineapple upside down was what the young lady asked for. She was turning 13, and so melted the butter in there. Brown sugar went on top of that. Laid out the pineapple, the maraschino cherries. All that was really good. And now for the batter, ended up doing the pineapple upside down cake mix. Just basically got 3 boxes of this in there. So this meant we were going to have a little bit of a long cook. So anyhow, mixed all that up, topped that in place on top of the pineapples and whatnot, and then basically, got that to working on the smoker. Again, this was a little bit long because we had 3 boxes in there, but about 45 minutes later, it started to look pretty good. Now midway through, I did the turn, and I actually think I did it one more turn in there. But one of the things I'll tell you is this was smelling great. Now, of course, you don't get any smokiness on this because, effectively you're cooking at a high temp and you're not getting a lot of smoke going. But you are getting a great amount of heat on the bottom of that. And that really caramelized everything out nicely. Okay, here goes that flip. In this instance, I was using one of my pizza pans, managed to get it over there, and I just kept my fingers crossed that this was going to work out. And sure enough, it worked out. It came out looking really good. And again, the aroma from this thing was just awesome. Definitely came out and looked really good. So from there, it was time to serve that up, blow those candles out, and there you go, make a wish. Very tender on the inside. I mean, just came out perfect. Honestly, I think this worked out better than using the oven inside the house. So that was, oh, there's that music. All right, time for a moment of zen. Here it comes.
These are actually really delicious. I thought they were going to taste disgusting and weird, but actually, I approve.
Are they skibbity? What's the skibbity rating?
They're skibbity toilet Ohio Brisket. Like what this signal.
And yeah, do me a favor, like and subscribe and give me some comments. Truly appreciate it.
I'm thinking you must have a really big smoker.